Hi, and welcome to Ladies of the Paranormal World. Excuse me, and we are here with our return guest, Sean. Oh, you actually put your name on there this time.
Well, I'm actually Sean. My name John. So
Yeah, but last time you wanted to keep that confidential, so.
right,
Um,
got it.
but we are here for an update with John, who has last time told us a little bit about his house and shown us a couple of videos. I think both were in agreement. There's something a little darker going on there. So we're going to let him take the floor and go ahead and show us that EVP that you caught for us.
Let me set a little bit. Is that um, home? I work from home on Mondays and Fridays. It was a Friday. I had a meeting going on, and I was responsible for the meeting. So I recorded the meeting, and when I went back to take notes from the meeting, I was somewhat surprised because I had an EVP on there. So I'm going to play that EVP for you. You have to bear with me as I get to that.
Absolutely. Take your time.
All right. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this EVP. So to set it up, there's a guy talking about one of the meetings we're having, and all of a sudden I hear this voice over his voice. So I'm trying to find where that was.
Treasury, OSD, all that nonsense. Reports, Treasury, OSD, all that nonsense. There's how.
Have you heard that?
Yep, I heard that.
So I was quite taken aback. You can play it back again.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play that one or two more times so the audience gets a chance to hear. But you can definitely tell the undertone of whoever's talking.
It's
And then
coming
the
up in a minute.
overtone.
These reports, Treasury, OSD, all that nonsense.
Right there.
Did you hear that?
Yep, that was a great EVP. Now, can you tell me what you think it's saying?
I have no idea what it's saying, and I'm trying to find a chance yet. I'll send it to you. I believe it's demonic.
It sounds
And
very
so,
malevolent.
yeah,
The undertone is
right.
very raspy and kind of
Yes.
just not
So-
very friendly.
Exactly. So this is the same voice I've heard. I threatened it before with St. Michael. It laughed at me.
I think that's
it
the
said,
same voice
"I can't
that
hurt
said
it."
the last EVP that you showed me. I think that's the same voice that said you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Which was a
Yes.
very threatening
Right.
EVP.
So it's the same
and
voice, right?
It is.
So,
It sounds very, very much the same.
So to back this up, 7 days before, I have a great niece that we have custody of. I'm 59, she's 10. My wife and I took her in because mom and dad both have addiction problems. It's pretty common world today.
Yeah, it is.
And she lives with us. And because of abandonment issues, being left at night by herself, she needs someone to lay on or with her while she's in her bed sleep. this is kind of me because about 7 to 10 days ago, I can't remember the day, I'd have to look at it and see. I was sleeping, but I was in that state between consciousness and subconsciousness, falling asleep. And then I heard a child, right, like a little
Hmm.
kid's voice. I woke up, but I felt like something was taken from me, right?
Right.
I never recorded. I wasn't recording and did name, but I felt like a piece was missing, and I was out of sorts, and the next was feeling bad, feeling
Hmm.
down and depressed, and I felt someone had taken a chunk of my soul and left with it. And it
Right.
took,
And I remember you saying it's kind of hard to explain, but I can understand what you mean.
yeah, and it took me, I don't know, 5 to 10 days to get over that feeling. It was
Right.
really
Well, I mean,
hard.
and it's hard to feel like somebody just ripped a part of you away.
I tried to explain it to my wife, and she couldn't understand it. And I have a friend I talked to; they didn't really understand it. It's very difficult to say. Hey, I felt like someone took a chunk and pulled it out, like a piece of my heart, and took it. So um, fast forward. Let me see if I can find this other thing. Um,
Okay, go for it.
so in Nadia's room, she has a small,
Hmm.
and I read about this who your boyfriend, fiance, messing
Hmm.
around on her, and it was caught. Heard it on Alexa,
Oh, jeez.
the whole Alexa app, right? And so I'm like, oh, I wonder what's on our history, right? So I went
No
back
kidding.
and I pulled Alexa. I deleted a bunch of stuff that was unintelligible. There's things on that I didn't know, right? So, but um, privacy setting on Alexa, and you can listen to all and Alexa to do.
Right.
So let me go and play something for you that was captured. Alexa. So this asked for, and it's mimicking my niece, right?
Okay.
Let me see if I can find this right here. Hold on.
Okay.
So there's a song that plays on the show that says "I can see you from behind." To time, it'll just play on Alexa. So,
Oh, wow.
like, okay, where's that coming?
Yeah, that's kind of
So
creepy.
here it is. Here it is. Yeah,
Ooh, no.
you hear that?
I
It
can.
says "I
That's
can see
really
you from
creepy.
behind." It's mimicking my niece's voice.
Hmm.
She started playing "I Can See You From," and she freaked. She hasn't gone back into her room since then.
I can't blame her. That would kind of creep me out to where I wouldn't want to go in my room either. That is so creepy. Oh my god. And so this is all in the past month because we wanted to see it's
Last
kind of an
2 weeks.
experiment. Yeah. So we wanted to kind of do an experiment to see if our conversations would elicit further activity. And would you say that the activity has heightened since our conversations, or do you think it's still pretty steady to where it was?
I
It's
just
just a
think
little
it's
more
pretty
noticeable.
steady where it is. So, but interestingly, right? So I told you I'm in Ocracoke. We're down in Ocracoke Island for the weekend. You know, weekend. It's a federal holiday. Son is watching, house sitting, taking care of our dogs. Right?
Hmm.
He never has experiences ever that he mentions.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why that is. Because he's
Well,
watched
have
our
you had
house.
any experiences since being out of the house?
Well, I'm going to record tonight while we're here to see. I'm going to put my recorder to Nadia as she sleeps in the camp to see if we
Mm-hmm.
have any recordings.
Okay.
So
See if maybe whatever it is followed you.
it follows her.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like it's sticking with well, where you are, she is. So, in a sense, it's following
Yeah.
the family. Um,
And I kind
and
of let
maybe
her name out, but anyway, so. But
well,
was
we'll
it
try
trying?
to uh, remind our audiences that this is somebody who is a child and will not be interviewed on this show whatsoever, nor will her
Right.
face be.
And there's custody going on right now. So,
Hmm.
so
Okay, so in the past
anyway,
month we've had some pretty creepy things with Alexa. Now, is that the only recording that Alexa has picked up that
some
mimics me?
that were unintelligible, so I deleted them, start fresh, so I can read that happens from
Hmm.
from a week ago forward, and so we shall see. There's stuff where I'm like, what was, but it cuts off.
Hmm.
And she's had this song play on occasions before, but I'm like, is she saying something or she's not? But she didn't say anything that night. She was asleep.
Oh, okay.
And
So
when
she wasn't
and when
even awake at the time that it had happened.
right when Alexa started playing that song, I woke up and I said, Nadia was asleep, and I kind of woke her up and said, "Hey, what's this?" I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm getting out of here. She ran away downstairs.
Oh, the poor thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so in the past month, because we've only taken a month's time to really get a little bit of acquaintance with your unexpected guest, were you able to put up any cameras in order to capture anything? I
So
know you said you were going to put them
I
back
have
up.
my cameras. I have my cameras up, but I don't want anything, and they're not good on audio. I do have some things I'm going back to review. They're motion sensitive. They kick on when there's motion. But I have a
Hmm.
new kitten in the house, and it's going all over the place. So I really have to be careful on what I say is, and what is this.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I am not caught anything that I would say is, hey, what's this?
Got you. I got you. Now, I know you said there's a particular part of the house that your wife does not particularly like to go. If I'm not mistaken, it was a closet. Is that
Well,
right?
she has a walk-in closet. It's not that she doesn't like to go in it. She's gone in it before and has had experiences where someone has whispered on her neck or has breathed on her neck or in her ear. So sometimes, and she does not like to be alone for long periods of time.
Right. I can understand that. I mean, you guys got something pretty weird going on there. Um, so I think the next thing that I'm going to ask you is, do you feel in any way, shape, or form in danger at times or uncomfortable?
I've had a series of medical conditions. I've been in perfect health up until recently. I've had a condition and had a heart attack, which out of the blue. And I've had I need joint replacement for my knees. I need my knees replaced. I was in perfect health. I used to ride my up until recently 50 miles a day, 4 times a week. Can't do it anymore.
Oh,
Granted,
wow.
I'm 50 now. There's real no explanation, and I do believe this this being is trying to kill me. And I will tell you something else. My neighbor, so we live 600 feet off the road, and a half
Mhm.
acres. It used to be a 5 acre. The
Mhm.
people that live on the first part used to live in our house, and their
Right.
in-laws lived in the house that was. And when the
Okay.
father-in-law died, they house we are now living in, right, and
Mhm.
moved up there. So we were like, okay, that's great, but the wife of has nothing but had medical problems and still currently has medical problems. She's had to have a kidney transplant.
Oh my
Right
God.
now, she can't, and she's been in the hospital for 4 weeks. But I think they were possibly attacking her.
Oh wow.
Top this off, their daughter, who's like 28, works for my wife.
Uh huh.
And she used to have activity in the house which is our house she lived in.
Mhm.
Parents were very religious and spiritual. Say
Mhm.
no, you're just imagining things.
Right. Exactly. And at that time, it wasn't talked about, so it's understandable that that was probably the reaction she received.
Well, I think it would be the same in most families. I mean,
Mhm.
for us, we've talked to her about it, and she says, "Yeah, there's been stuff going on in that house since it was built in 1996. 1996 is not like some of these old houses you have in Maine, New England, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
Virginia, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, the house I live in is like 130 years old.
Yeah, so it's not old, but the property it's on and the that it's on one of the oldest streets in the country.
Right. Now, you're saying that they were having things happen prior to you moving in. So, do you still
She
think this is
said she
connected?
experienced things, and she said she experienced things. And I will tell you, my niece and I have seen. I see an adult female, all white, from at a quick glance on the side of my eyes. And I never said anything to my niece, and she told me yesterday that she saw this lady in the kitchen where I've seen her, yes,
Mhm.
as an adult person. She told me yesterday that. And I'm like,
Oh wow.
whoa. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but
No. Where'd you hear it?
it
Because you
happens
didn't
like
tell her
that.
about.
Yeah. And it happens so quick. It's not like it's, you're like, am I crazy? Did I chat?
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Well, what I
she's,
was going to ask you is if they were having experiences there prior to you guys being there. Do you still
yes,
believe that this is
Sarah.
all connected to Nadia, or do you think that she maybe increases the activity by being there?
So I think Nadia's an empath, and she has ability to, and I believe she brought some spirits with her,
Hmm.
and really know how to deal with them, tell them to go away, um, or just to tune them out. And I believe
Mm.
there are some that are at the house, and I think they're evil. And like,
You know, with some of the things we've heard, I have to agree with that assessment, because I mean, it's not every day you hear an EVP that says you're gonna die, or I really want to hear that clip because I'm sure I can pick it apart, but it definitely sounds demonic. And you said this was at your home when you heard that over the other individual.
yeah, it was a meeting, and we're implementing a system,
Hmm.
you and for the IT system for identity credential management. And that snippet, I was surprised. That was at the end. There's one prior to that that's like a whisper.
Hmm.
Of that, I didn't play for it. It's not so pronounced and not so demonic.
Okay.
But that one played, and I'll cut it at some point when I get a chance to send it to you. I tried. I wasn't having good luck doing it, but
I was going to say, worst case, I'll analyze the heck out of it. And I actually have a new individual who's going to be joining my team on the ground. We're going to be doing investigations together. And she may even be able to listen to it and maybe hear what it's trying to say or
well,
what it is.
I love to hear it says another one that's from way back when Nadia first is unintelligible to me, but it's the same voice.
Right. The ones that you sent me were in the same voice. And, I even played them one right after the other and side by side and tried to decipher because one of them was kind of hard to understand and then the other ones were really easy for me to make out, but it's all the
Right.
same voice. It's all in the same frequency. So, that's kind of creepy in itself. You definitely have something that's not human in your home.
Yeah, and then where to go from to see if I can get rid of this because it's attached to Nadia if Nadia has issues, and trying to figure out how to help her. She is prepubescent, and she's getting to that point where she's starting to become a woman.
Hmm.
So, I've talked to some people that have had some women that have had the same experience, and when they went through puberty and after puberty, it all ended. They didn't
Right.
have any more
It's
experience.
it's because they either outgrow the gift or they stop harnessing the gift.
So for me,
And I know a
I
lot of
don't
people think
want
it's a gift.
I don't want Nadia if she has a gift to outgrow the gift because I believe she is in tune with the other side. She can help a lot of people,
Exactly.
and I would
Um,
and
Teaching her to harness that
and
gift is going to be the only way to help her.
those that have passion, she could help.
Hmm. Well, that's why I was saying I think the best thing to do isn't to get rid of. Well, you're gonna want to get rid of whatever that attachment is because obviously it's not good.
Right,
But you also want to try and teach her how to harness that gift, and you're gonna need to find somebody who's gifted as well in order to teach her how to do that.
right.
I've got a few people that I don't know if you've watched my show that are actually gifted, that are paranormal mediums, and I could always reach out to them and get you in contact with them to
Well,
teach her how to
I
do
would
it.
love that, and I don't think Nadia is opposed to that. But when it's getting scary, it's when she's
Right.
opposed to it.
Well,
If I go by
they've also
environment,
performed cleansings and things of that
yeah,
nature. So
but I don't know if
I
they
could
can do
always
it over the phone or over the video.
no,
You
they would have to
know,
actually come and cleanse the home.
and I can't do anything till after November
Hmm.
because we're custody hearing. So
Right. Well, and we can always, it just means you'll have to deal with this thing until then. But I can tell them that you have a timeline that you can't do anything until after, and then maybe they can come in and help you because if I'm not mistaken, they're also in Virginia. So
yeah, because I'm concerned about Nadia and want her to lose this ability if she has it.
right,
I want her to
exactly.
I want her to understand it, and I want her not to be afraid of it. I want her to be able to manage it, and I want to help others.
Right. Well, and what they'll teach her also is how to protect herself from the darker entities that she doesn't want uh, encroaching on her.
Right.
Because what'll happen is because she's so spiritually open, it's gonna attach, it's gonna latch on, and it's not gonna let go. We don't want that. We want her to be able to be open, but still be able to protect herself against darker entities. Which right now she seems to have, unbeknownst to herself, invited that entity to talk to her. Just by acknowledging its existence, she's invited it
And
because they know.
I don't think she's the only one in our house that has that issue. I
Mhm.
think all my wife and myself all have some issues, and that I'm your wife because of that, and Nadia was brought to
Mhm.
us because of that, and we're all together
Mhm.
as a group because of that.
Right. Well, you all have a past that's had some difficulties. Um, whether it be through your health or whether it be through Nadia, excuse me, separation anxiety, things like that.
Right.
These darker beings feed off of that. They feed off of your insecurities. They feed off of your anxieties and your angers and your fears. That's how they get stronger. So if the house is emanating that, if you guys are emanating that, they're just feeding off of it.
Yeah, and some of it happens, and there's a lot of emotions in the house because of things that are done, and Nadia's being very difficult at this point in time because she's trying to build that wall with us. She loves us dearly, but
Hmm.
there's potential for her going back to mom, right?
Yeah.
And so she's struggling with that,
Right. And
and
well, what child
she's
wouldn't be? Because she
very
feels when she if she gets comfortable, and then she
yeah,
has to change that comfort zone again.
and she's
Yeah.
very defiant.
Oh, my son is too. So
I
it's not
mean,
easy.
she's half going to be. She's in fifth grade, so that's right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's right on the borderline of that prepubescent where you get really
Some of
frustrated
the
with
thing
them.
scary is that I was cleaning her room with her last, and I found a knife on
Oh my gosh.
the sink that had been missing, and I asked her, "What are you doing with that?" And she started. You can tell as an adult when she's lying, right? And
Hmm.
she was planning, I think, to do something very bad.
Oh, I hope not.
I hope not, but for conversations, that's what I got. She was planning to kill me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's not her.
Right. So do you think maybe whatever it is trying to get her to do damage or do harm to you?
Me or my wife.
Okay. In that
But
situation, I would probably hide
it's
anything.
like a steak knife that has been missing, and I found it under her bed.
Oh wow. Okay, so maybe we need to get someone in there right after everything is done with courts and stuff because
Yeah,
that's dangerous.
we're going. Yeah, and I've talked. I've talked to her counselor about it. Of course, Nadia will lie about it and say it's nothing, but she never remembers why she had it, or you know if she was like, "Hey, I found this knife under your bed against the wall in your bed. Why did you have it?" And if she's just cutting something, a string, cutting this off my doll or cutting my doll's hair, you would believe her. But she says, "I don't know." So, what are you planning on doing? Oh, so were you planning to hurt yourself? No. Hurt someone else? Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
And that's are high in the house at times, and I knew what was going on in the house at the time, and I know what I'm planning to do. So
Mm. And is there anything that anybody else has been able to do for her in order to maybe explain to her what's going on? Like, has anyone sat her
yeah,
down and asked her?
so she goes to counseling every 3 weeks, and a
Mhm.
lot of it has been
Right.
video conference, Zoom. But I told her counselor she needs a person, and she went to counseling a week ago, and things didn't go the way Nadia were going to go, and she was so emotional, couldn't send her back to school. She had to take the whole school.
Mm.
So I'm not privy to what those conversations are,
Right.
and I can ask, and I get some of that, but some of it's held back, and they had concern on her face.
Mm, that's never good. So, I know a lot of this happens where Nadia is concerned. Is there any potential that there's multiple things that are kind of pulling her in multiple directions? Because it sounds like she's a really sweet girl, but it also sounds like she's really conflicted.
So the last thing is she's conflicted, and so how she ended up with myself and my wife is she's actually the niece of my wife, first wife.
Mm-hmm.
We're all still friends, right? Because that relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
my wife Debbie has gone on vacation with my Valerie,
There you go.
which a lot of people thinks is cool. Don't care. What do I care? If you're
They're
talking
friends. Who
about
cares?
me, if you're talking about me, your life boring, right? So, so Nadia came to us. My first wife's very involved with our relationship with Nadia because she's the matriarch of that family, and she
Mm-hmm.
oversees a significant amount of trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Nadia needs to go here or there, dance, or after school, before school care, the trust pays for it, and that's fine. It works out well, right?
Okay.
But they came to us because Nadia, she was going to foster care, and no
Oh.
one would
Oh.
take her because a lot of people, family members, have labeled her as a demon seed.
Oh.
Yeah, guys, we were like, that's crazy. She's a little girl. She's 7. How can she be that? Right?
Yeah.
But the first one of the first days, thus I had to take her to school, right? So I drove
Mm-hmm.
her to school to drop her off, and I was on the way to take her to the drop off line,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes and looks at me in the face and says, "Why are you so unhappy? I can see inside you and that you're so unhappy."
Oh wow.
And I was freaking out. I'm like, "I'm not unhappy. What are you talking about? You're nuts." It
Right.
wasn't. She saw right inside my soul. It told me about it, and I just
Oh
met her.
wow.
Yeah, I
That's
was very distraught
crazy.
with my things that were going on in our relationship at that time.
Right.
I
Wow.
was not happy. So um, she picked up on it and
Wow.
keyed in on it and freaked me the hell out. I'm telling
Well, and you can try and chalk it up to perceptiveness, but if you never even showed any sign of displeasure in your life
you. Right.
and you hadn't had her very long, how could she have possibly picked up on that?
And she's 7.5.
Right. Exactly. She's so young. Um.
Right.
So since she's been there, let's try and go back a ways because I know we've been talking about the past month, which you've had some really crazy things. When did things start really picking up after Nadia's arrival?
When Nadia first moved into our house was January 23rd of 2020.
Okay.
So she hardly knew me and my wife at all. And her mom just kicked her out us with us. And she's very tough girl. It was very tough for her. She just went on and told on basis on what her mom told good people.
Right.
But so her stress levels very, very high, right?
Mhm.
So we decided the best place for her was to be in our family room over the garage, which is a big room. But we put 2 beds up there, one on one room and both feet on the other side, a single bed. So I was so so we would sleep right in that
Right.
same room, bed, and she was in her bed. And how I sort
Right.
of would fall asleep, and then I woke up. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm sorry. I was fixing my controller.
Looked like it fell over.
No. There we go. My mouse controller popped out. There we go.
So, anyways, so I was on one side of the room, she was on the other, and I would fall
Mm.
asleep, kind of wake up, be awake, but not really awake, talking. So this is
Ah,
after the 4 days, right? And I'm like,
right.
Nadia, go to sleep. You're not asleep, go to sleep, right?
Right.
And she looked at me like, I thought I was asleep.
Oh, wow.
Being
Okay.
the old military guy, like, you're lying to me. You need to get to sleep and be honest.
Right.
So then I was like, well, maybe she's not lying. So I decided to put my phone up by her head. And the top of the little
Right.
headboard was by her bed, and I recorded. I started getting EVPs because I noticed that walking, she wasn't talking really, and I couldn't distinguish what she was talking about.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
that's when it started right off the bat.
Oh. So this wasn't like it slowly warmed into it. It just, boom, here it is.
Right. And then she would times that um, there was little kids outside the window. We're up on the second floor, the family room over the garage, the frog room. But there was little kids out there throwing rocks at the window, trying to get her to come play. There's no one out there.
Oh, wow.
So, and then my ex wife, Valerie, would say, hey, Maria has always said there have been kids with her. And my mother, Nadia's great grandmother,
Hmm.
says there was a little kid. She was suffering from dementia. They didn't know it.
Mm.
And she had, um,
Okay.
was in the final stages of dementia. But she would, I was always saying her friend was there, and her great grandmother was like seeing the kid. And I
Hmm.
believe she was seeing the kid. And that kid was there,
Yeah.
and that kid's still in my house.
Oh, so it never left.
Well, it came with Nadia, it came to the house.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's definitely something that she kind of unintentionally invited along with her.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So aside from the little friends that she used to see, when did the darker entity start to plague her?
Well,
Like when did
that
that
doc
start?
when I first started recording. So it
Oh,
was like
so right
after
around the
about
same time.
oh yeah, that's the recording I sent to you that says you're handsome.
Uh huh.
That is that entity that I've recorded multiple times, and I just recorded again. That's very dark.
Now, do you ever have any poltergeist type activity? Because I know when we were listening, or was it
Sure.
we were watching one of your videos,
Uh,
something was thrown or fell, and that's the only thing that I was able to hear, but I couldn't
it's
tell what it was.
happened recently, and I'm glad you brought that up. Um, not within the last 10 days, I was sitting in our dining room having dinner with Nadia, my wife, someone, and it was on the weekend. And in our kitchen, we have the kitchen area, but there's a dining area to the right, which my wife to her private office area. But it's all there and a TV.
Right.
And it's a glass desk. Well, I'm eating. I can't remember what Nadia and I were having for dinner. We're sitting there. Something went across her desk, bounced off her desk, and went on the floor. Kitchen floor.
Oh, wow.
And this happens all the time. I found a rock in the middle of our home. No idea where it came from.
Oh wow! So it wasn't like it was drug in from outside by one of the animals or from your boots or.
Dogs are out back. They don't historically they have not brought rocks in. The cats have not brought rocks in. It was a rock from we have crush and run in our driveway, and
Mm-hmm.
it was in the area where that video was I showed you.
Oh, the one where we could see both in both videos the dark shadow figures.
Yeah, that was in that area.
Oh, same area. That's odd.
It happens all the time. Like you try to pass it off, and Noddy and I will look at each other. Did you hear that? Yeah. We were in a living room and settled behind our wood stove. Noddy ran over behind the wood stove. There's nothing there. Nothing can make them. We don't
Mm.
know what it was. There's no cat, no dog, no mouse, nothing.
Oh wow.
It
See that
happens
that would kind of.
all the time. I can be working from home, and there's people having conversations in my house.
Oh wow. Like you can hear them audibly.
Right. I can hear them, boredom, but I can hear them. It's gotten to the point dogs are hear them and bark.
Right. I was gonna ask you because I know you've got a few animals in the house. How do they behave when things are being active? Aside from barking, I know some people's pets will sit in a particular spot and stare into what looks like
So
nothing, but they're seeing
that
something.
right, that used to happen when my great Pyrenees was 160 pounds. But now, right, I can't walk 2 feet with him being up my back end. If I stop, it hits me in the back end. Go anywhere in the house without him being right there.
Oh wow. So they're
Yeah.
almost becoming protective of you.
He is very attuned with me and what's going on and what's attached to me or trying to get to me.
Right, because what you have right now is what I would consider an oppressive entity, meaning it's trying to take hold of you.
You know, it's
Right.
trying to kill me.
It's feeding off of you. Yeah.
So,
Uh,
and we're having, and this entity and I are a struggle over who's the alpha in the place.
yeah. I would have to say that that's kind of what it sounds like. Whatever it is meaning to do you harm. I just trying to understand what could have happened. Now, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about the land? Not your house particularly, because we know your house isn't that old, but the land and the road that you live on, because I think we touched on it a little bit. We didn't really touch
I
on it.
don't, at this point, I don't even care giving out all the information, but I live in James City County in Virginia, close to work. I live in the Lightfoot area. Um, the road that runs down Richmond Road runs down to the center of Williamsburg, and I live on Centerville Road. And Centerville Road is one of those roads in Virginia country, and Washington, and other people have walked that road down to the mansion, marched on it. A mile and a quarter away, there's a ordinary that was used for, it was a hotel. People going to Williamsburg or the governor's mansion. And then if you go south on that road, about another 2 miles, of the first freed communities of enslaved people that were given their freedom in the
Yep.
country. And there's the ordinary down there. And so there's a lot of things that have happened. I mean, a mile from the house where they have a big community complex, a sports complex, and a high school and a community college called War Hill was a precursor battle to the battle at Yorktown. And 150 to 200 people were either wounded or killed in that area. And so also there's a lot of transitory things that come through the area because sometimes it's almost like it's a migration.
Yeah.
More activity happens at certain times. So in our
Okay,
area,
so maybe even some residual effects from back then.
sure. And as I told you, when I first moved into that property in 2013, there were some issues that we had. I was out back, hot night, sitting at had a picnic table out back.
Hmm.
Something got thrown at me, and it was a rock.
Yes, yes, I
That was
remember.
like in 2013, 14. So, and there was nothing there.
Now that was, and again, this is 2013, 2014. This is before Nadia
Yeah, it Nadia
was there.
wasn't even a thought. That
So would I would have to say you would probably had been experiencing things on a much lower level, more
like our
residual.
dog Brody, who's the big parent, he says 160 pounds. He would just sit there and stare at a corner or at the dining room and just sit there for 30, 40 minutes at a time and not move.
Wow. So he was definitely having experiences of his own. Uh,
Oh yeah,
and when animals do that, I always say pay attention to your animals. Pay attention to them because they are really good biosensors. They are extremely sensitive to everything from sound to sight to smell. You name it, they're 10 times more sensitive to it than we are. So if they're hearing and seeing things and they're sitting and behaving a specific way, that's when you should kind of take note, especially if it's something out of character for them.
I'm to the point now where I opened the car door and that's why the light changed. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're
She
good.
didn't, she didn't shut the door all the way. Um, but I got the bar light on my dashboard. Anyways, I'm to the point where I really want like an eruption from a volcano, and then everything to settle afterwards. Right?
Right.
I want to get all this out. It's like popping a zit. I want to get it all out, figure it out, and say, okay, that's it. We cleared it up. We're forward.
Right. Well, and with major hauntings like what you're having,
Hold
it's
on a second.
almost like waiting for the shoe to drop.
That door shut. That door shut it for me. Sorry, I'm trying to get the door shut. There we go. Thank you. That's better. Okay, so I got.
Okay.
Anyways, well,
So,
no, I mean, I want to come to one. I want to understand. It's like the five W's, right? Who, what, why, when, where.
exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to know what's going on. Now, I know you guys said that you had an investigative team there once before,
Yeah.
some time ago. Were they
We
able
did.
to find anything conclusively?
Um, they never disclosed that. It was kind of odd because Nadia was under duress. She was there at the house, and we were trying to make her be calm, and they never caught anything. But some things happened. That have said is that they set up a bunch of wired video cameras and audio devices throughout the house, and it's
Hmm.
not up to 2,400 square feet. But they have a control center outside underneath the canopy tent, right?
Hmm.
Pop up canopy tent. Oh, when they started recording and stuff as the night went along, they'll growl around the side of the house. They're like, what
Jeez.
the F was that? Right? And it was like loud like a bobcat. There's no bobcats in the area. Right?
Oh wow. Okay.
Outside the house with their flashlights and looked underneath the steps on the side door. They couldn't find anything. They came back. It happened again. And we have a pasture, probably 20 feet to 200 feet from the house. Right?
Mhm.
Is in that pasture. The growl happened, and the horses went running.
Oh
And
gosh.
they didn't run up to where their feed and hay is. They ran in the opposite into the far corner of the pasture, away from
Oh
everything.
wow. Oh wow. Okay.
It's
So
like,
maybe it
crap,
may have
what was
been.
that? And they're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah. Holy crap! What was that
and they're
indeed?
like, what was that? And one of the ladies there was supposed to live in a very devout Catholic and involved in the Catholic Church, and she got a crucifix that was by a priest and Saint with Saint Michael's prayer and holy
Mhm.
water and all this other stuff. And nothing never changed. They never did anything. They were turned off, I think, because we made Nadia participate in it, and probably we shouldn't have and had her go away.
I was gonna say that sounds like a situation where yeah, she's a trigger object herself, and I understand them wanting to use a trigger object, but I think using the child themselves, being as young as she is, was probably not the best idea.
Yeah, that was Debbie and I really want that. I them. That was more on Debbie and myself, and I think I turned them off because I
Right.
think they're of
Well,
the
yeah.
same mindset as you.
Well, just because she's so young and it makes her extremely vulnerable, and you're
Yeah,
inviting whatever's there to basically participate using her as a conduit, it puts her
we
in
definitely would never do that again.
yeah, kind of a spiritual battle, and I don't think she's old enough for that kind of battle just yet.
No, at that time she was 8. Really, no.
Yeah, maybe if
So,
I can get uh, there's a couple groups that I've talked to, and I could probably get them to come to your residence. Um, but I would suggest maybe taking Nadia like to the camper or something so that she's not in directly in the house, and
well, she
see
can
if
go
maybe it
stay with
works
her
out better.
aunt, or like my first wife only lives 3 miles away, 4 miles away.
Right, maybe a
So she
sleepover
can
or
spend
something.
the night, whatever, and at the house.
Yeah.
My son lives 7 miles, and he's an adult, 27 years old, and he's helped out a lot with Naughty. She could be there, so. But there's definitely, I need to figure out what's going on in that, just for my sanity.
Right, exactly. And like I said, I've got I don't know if you've noticed, but I interview a lot of paranormal groups that come on. And I'm sure I could talk to one of them that's in the area because there's quite a few that are in the area um, that can come out and do a full investigation, which means you and your wife and your animals, they would probably have you take them out of the house so that there's no interference. And then they would set up everything for 12 hours or whatever it is that they do it for, uh,
Yeah.
and just
So we
really get
actually
a
had a,
true investigation done to where you can see the footage and you can see the evidence yourself, um,
we
stuff like
actually
that.
we had a former friend of ours with my wife. We would go. It was our first experience with the paranormal, and I thought she was full of.
Oh.
So we were on a ghost hunt with her at this place in Virginia, and um, it was a group event he had to go to, and we went. And I actually caught my very first EVP, and what sort of went like this: there was a lady there that had really colored hair and she and her boyfriend had just got married. They're husband and wife, and she made a comment in this mansion. It
Mhm.
said, "I bet you think my hair color is and I have crazy colored hair." This lady who was the paranormal said yes. They said
Oh,
yes, right? But on my recorder, I heard her say, the EVP say yes.
oh wow. Okay, so it validated.
Validated after that lady said, she said yes. Or Ray said
Yeah,
yes.
that's
And I'm
really
like,
good
oh
validation.
my God, this lady that is, and she actually stayed at her house and house sat for us and said, too many spirits here. I'm not staying here ever again.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And that's great validation. The fact that you were able to validate that she was hearing what she was
But
hearing.
that was pre Nadia.
Oh wow, and that was pre Nadia.
So yeah,
Wow.
and I think some of it is true, some of it's not. I got to do assault,
Hmm.
because she's been prone to, put it this way, she was losing her front teeth because,
Oh,
so, I'm sure how far I can take with what she said, validation. I know she took all our smoke down because she told me the spirits were making them,
oh wow. And now were they
which
going off just
they never
intermittently
happened
for
to
no
me. So
reason?
I'm like, what happened was her upstairs bathroom, if you don't run the vent fan in the bathroom and you open the door up, smoke
Steam.
detector's right there, and it goes off.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. Well,
Anyways,
I
not
wouldn't
to say
want you
that I would
to.
appreciate any help that we could get.
Well, I will speak to. I've got quite a few. There's Blood Moon Paranormal, who I spoke to a few weeks ago, and I think they're actually pretty close to you guys. So I'll talk to them and see if they can't come out to you. They're a really good group, and it's not a big group. It's just two people, but
And
they've
you
been
can let me
doing
know
it for
afterwards
several years.
because there's a jet lives up two house. It's like two houses from where I live and across the street. And one of his friends, um, I know through one of these ghost hunts, is friends with him in the area, but has said that his house even has paranormal activity on the road.
Oh wow, okay. So he may, maybe he'd be willing to talk about what he experiences, but I do
His
want to get you guys somebody that
mode
can
of
help.
operation, yeah, his mode of operation, I don't like it, is confrontational with
Oh,
spirits, and
oh, he provokes
that's
them.
exactly. And we were at a event, and he provoked, and my wife was there. My wife got stomach and had a big bruise on her stomach from that.
Oh gosh, yeah, we don't
Yeah,
want anybody that's going to provoke what's going on. You've already got enough going on.
no,
Um,
I don't need that to make it
no.
worse instead of better.
Yeah, there's a couple of groups. Like I said, there's a couple groups I know that they don't believe in confrontational or provoking. They don't believe in it. They don't like it. They won't do it. But they will. They work at things from a more scientific and spiritual standpoint. So anything that they use is going to be something that can scientifically prove that it can't be
Right.
explained with those instruments. So um, there's at least three groups that I can name that would be willing to do that. Just got to figure out which
Awesome.
one's closest to you. I actually think the one that's here in Pennsylvania might be closest to you. I'll talk to him. Uh, I'll see if I can talk to him tomorrow. And I'll,
Do you
give
have
you his information. Huh?
my phone number?
I don't believe so.
I'll give it to you afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll see if he can help you because, like I said, they don't like dealing with things from a provocative standpoint. They don't like doing that. It makes things far worse than it already is. So,
Yeah, from my wife, my perspective, we want to understand what it is, why it's happening, if we can move it to the other on its journey, and get it eternal. That's where we're at. Those
mhm,
that are demonic, we want it gone, and whatever
okay.
we need to do,
Well,
get it
I'm gonna
gone.
end the episode here. You stay on though, so we can talk a little more
Sure,
about that. Um, but I definitely have someone that's pretty close to me that could probably come out to see you guys. It's only about 4 5
awesome.
hour drive. So, okay.
Depends on where you're at.
Well, I'm out in York, PA, and they are about
Been
20
there,
minutes from me.
yeah. Ben, they have the big barbell sign on what the road goes by there. Yeah,
I think I know what you're talking about.
sorry. Anyway, long
I'm
time.
trying to think. Okay, so we're gonna play the outro in the episode, and then stay though because I'm
Awesome.
gonna talk to you and get your information. Then I'm gonna give you their information, and then I'll talk to them too, so
All right.
they know that they're needed. One definitely
Thank
does
you.
cleansings, and they do the investigation. All
Thank
right,
you.
absolutely.